name is Erik Higgins, and I'm a double bass player and Baroque bassist from the Stanton Music Festival. And I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about the Last Bass in Vegas that we performed a couple of years ago at the Stanton Music Festival. And I performed it together with the wonderful Gwen Grastorf.
Hi there, my name is Gwen Grastorf, and I am an actor and performer with Happenstance Theater. So the Last Contrabass in Las Vegas is a really special piece. I was super excited to start learning it and to prepare for the Stanton performance. The first thing I did was listen to a lot of recordings of it. The score for Last Contrabass in Las Vegas is super exciting looking. If you open the sheet music, it looks kind of like a football diagram. There's a whole bunch of crazy arrows and symbols and tiny little footnotes. It's really nuts and really fun. When I got to Stanton, I remember meeting Erik, the bassist, at the opening night party, and I was wearing a tux and top hat and bow tie, and he came up and I said, "Have you ever done this piece before?" And he said, "No." "Have you?" And I said, "No." So we kind of took it from there.
It was really fun to work together with Gwen to watch the piece develop and watch how it changed in front of an audience as well.
We had a staging rehearsal at Blackfriars, but it just was very kind of polite, and we went through it in a very normal way until the night of the show. So the night of the performance was kind of a perfect night. You could tell the audience was really primed to have a good time. They had been watching this whole evening of Commedia dell'arte with funny songs and hilarious operetta bits, and it was after intermission, so they'd all had a drink of wine. And I remember, Erik and I were talking downstairs, and I said, "I think it's gonna be a little bonkers. Like, are you ready to go with me if we kind of need to improvise our way through it?" And he was on board.
There are also a number of different extended techniques that you might not see so often in double bass playing. So I wanted to show a few of those to you today. One of the most common ones is harmonics. And so it gives it a special sound, and you can play notes that are quite high. Several places in the piece where this happens. One of them is where the narrator describes how the bass is as docile as a baby. Another effect that comes a little later in the piece is I call it the seagull effect, kind of like this. And so this particular moment in the piece combines both this seagull effect with natural harmonics, and you get this really interesting sound. And then my score, I wrote down "Lost at Sea," something like that. That's what it sounds like to me. Then, of course, there's a number of different places that imitate different animals or different attitudes, basically. In one place, the narrator describes the bass doing anything you want, and I just had a picture in my head of one of those monkeys with cymbals like this. And so I decided that that's what the composer was probably going for, and it was something, the kind of slap bass technique. Probably the most used technique in this piece were the different kinds of slaps and hits. There were hitting the bass on the body or on the ribs, and then slapping the strings. And in the score, you'll see it says slap with the left hand, which would sound something like this. But I found it was much more theatrical to use the right hand instead, which you'll see in a couple of different places, but especially at the end, which looks something like this. Another technique that I didn't understand what it was getting at all was in the bass cadenza towards the end, where the composer asks the bass player to use the end of the bow, the screw here, and stick it in between the strings like this, and just kind of go back and forth like that. And it's not something you can really hear a lot at a distance, but as you'll see from Gwen's facial expression and the audience's reaction, it had a different function, perhaps more theatrical function.
It was a really, really perfect evening to do that piece. The audience was just perfect. The whole piece was so exciting, and we could really feel that the audience was with us. It's like riding a roller coaster or surfing. You can feel the waves of laughter and energy coming back from the audience, and it was a real delight. I may not ever have a performance that's quite that exciting again. I'm really thankful to have had the experience.